Welcome everyone, this is the Indian Express and today is 22nd of August and I will analyze this newspaper in 3 steps. First is why is the news, second what is the news, and third what can be the future prospects of the news. So let's get started with the first news, which is convicts in Bilkis Bano case came out on frequent parole as witnesses cited threats. So why is this news? This news is because of a decision by Supreme Court which act out for remission of these prisoners, that is reducing their number of years that they spend in prison. So after completing 14 years in the prison they were held out, these prisoners came out of that. So this is now occurred. We will see in the future how people react to it. Already so many of the judges of Supreme Court have reacted in both the favor of this judgment as well as against also. So we will see how this reaction and of both favor and against work out. Next news is 19 states and union territories cross pre-COVID GSDP levels in fiscal year 2022. Kerala and UP lag. So this is regarding the gross state domestic product. It is a state-wise analyzing of what is their gross domestic product of states. So this is a finding which have been released this month. So what the main findings are: double-digit growth seen in 7 states. Andhra with highest GSDP growth of 11.43% and Puducherry lowest at 3.31%. So we'll see what is the news. This news is here is written this is official data for 21 states and union territories, and growth rates of 11 states which include Gujarat and Maharashtra were not available for 2021-2022. So while in 2020-2021 the 19 states and union territories were showing a negligible growth, or you can say contracted growth of GSDP, the year when government had imposed a lockdown. So now their economies have bounced back in 2021 and 2022, exceeded their pre-COVID levels, which was 2019 and 2020. So this is showing that our economy is now recovering because it has exceeded the pre-COVID level. So the 19 states and union territories who have their GSDP shown in this finding are Andhra Pradesh, Rajasthan, Bihar, Telangana, Delhi, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, Karnataka, Tripura, Sikkim, Himachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Jharkhand, Tamil Nadu, Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Uttarakhand and Puducherry. So on August 1st, 2022, these were available on the websites of Statistics and Program Implementation Ministry. So Kerala and Uttar Pradesh, these two states are the only exception which have shown GSDP which is below the pre-COVID levels. So as I've already told you, Andhra showed the highest record, which is 11.43%, while Puducherry is in the lowest, which is 3.31%, and also 7 states are nearly in 2 digits, which are these 7 states. Now it is economies of these 11 states grew in the range of 4% to 8%, and among the big states, which is like Uttar Pradesh, it has registered the lowest growth rate of 4%, 4.24% in 2021-2022. So what is this means? What this GSDP means for our country as a whole? It's like while the sharp jump in the GSDP of some states is due to the base effect, which is taken as 2011, 2020, 2012. So it is 2011 and 2012. So this is the base year which is taken. Here's it given. So now it's a general trend which mirrors the post-pandemic economic recovery. So Also in 2011-12, India's GDP expanded at 8.7% against. So now they're talking about India's GDP, not the state GSDP. India's GDP means GDP, which is gross domestic product of India as a whole country. So we will now see more of this news in second page. So here it is given that India's GDP was 8 point some percent, which was 6.6% in 2021. Also, these figures were not available for states such as Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, West Bengal, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, as well as Chandigarh. So the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, it has compiled, or you can say it compiles always, the GSDP figures as reported by Directorate of Economics and Statistics of respective state governments. So this is done by this Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. We will now see our next news. This news is regarding number of women scientists up. CSIR, which is Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, aims at further push. So why this is new? This news is important. As you know, many times it is called that in almost every year women become toppers. That this girl's topper. What these two women do is a question. In fact, it becomes a lot of joke also. So now this is the time that you can see that women are taking up science as a subject and they are pursuing it as a scientist. Becoming a scientist is a big deal because it requires a great level of creativity, as well as it's not just copying or learning something, it's creating new fields in science and technology. So now women have come up with such a great accomplishment. So the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research have published this report, and we will see what this report is. The appointment earlier this month of Dr. N. Kalaiselvi as the first women Director General of the India's largest research and development organization, which is a 80-year-old Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, underlined a significant trend. And what is this trend? Official data show that participation of women in science research has been generally increasing over the past 2 decades in the country. So it is a very good news regarding our country, because women are taking up science, which was a stigma that women only take up arts as a subject. This is not a choice. This is now happening in our country. So more than a quarter, 28% of the participants in extramural rural and development projects in 2018 and 19 were women, and up from 13% in 2001 due to various initiatives taken by successive governments. Data compiled by Department of Science and Technology show number of women principals investigated in rural development has risen more than 4 times. Percentage of women among researchers went from 13% to 18% in 2018. Now, there were women researchers in engineering and technology, which is 14.5%, compared with natural sciences and agriculture, which is 22.5% each, health and science, which was 24.5%. These percentage of women researchers in social sciences and humanities is, however, much higher at 36.4%. So as you know, as this is because of choice as well as also the social norm that was during the time when these women were studying. So they are taking up both subjects, science as well as arts, now with their own choice. So now there is no stigma regarding the girl child what she should choose, but it rather depends on their own choice what their interest is. Both science and as well as social science are equally interesting, as well as equally they demand a lot of enthusiasm as well as focus from the students, as well as and in the work of researchers it is much more, because it is creating their own thing. So it's a bit challenging as well, but now women are taking both. Increase in women's participation, especially in research, is due to a combination of government programs and natural progression. Personally, I've never faced hiccups in my career, but have seen that women tend to drop out when they married or have children. This is the Dr. Kelai Sevi told Indian Express. However, there was, so she's talking now, women participation increased because of there are cliche facilities now in the residential colonies where women scientists live. Parental attitudes towards girl pursuing science has also been a shift, and girls are now encouraged more. Now they're talking that all the head, she Kalai Sevi, her aim would be to push for a further increase in participation of women within the organization. Dr. S Chandrasekhar, who is the Secretary of Department of Science and Technology, he said that with the use of artificial intelligence in the sciences, we anticipate in the next 5-6 years there will be exponential growth in women's participation in science and technology, with women using more sophisticated tools that allow remote working, such as something simply like an access to online libraries. Even chemical sciences and industry is getting smarter and cleaner, and I think the number of women employed will also increase. So this survey has showed, which is AISHE survey, it has showed that 53% and 55% participation of women in the science education at the bachelor's level and master's level respectively. Numbers are comparable with many developed countries, but at doctoral level, the women graduates 44% lagged behind men. So talking about, we have observed that participation of women is healthy till the postgraduate level, but there is a drop at the post doctoral level where most of the research takes place. Even though it has increased, it is still far less than 30% of the global average. So what the ministry aims is to raise women participation in science and technology to 30% by 2030. So they are already making push for it, and out of 97 scientists in Department of Science and Technology, 35 are women. In the past 2 years, majority of the programs committees in the Department of Science and Technology have had at least 20 to 25% women. So number of science researchers in India doubled now because of the supported by gender advancement for transforming institution project, which is a Gati project. So all these helping women, as well as it includes important institutions like IISc, 5 IITs, BITS Pilani Research Institute, like ICAR, universities like Delhi University. So all these help women to study in these institutions and come forward as a great scientist. So what is the main? Women's participation is highest in the biotechnology, which is 40%, medicine is 35%, ICAR, which is Agriculture Research Institution, has 29%, CDRI has 18%, NIPER has 21%, Defense Bioengineering and Electromedical Lab, which is double, which is located in Bangalore, has 33%, Delhi University has 33% women Participation by Tejpur University in Assam has 17%. So it's a good news, and we will be tracking more of this in the future. This will help women grow in their career as well as in society both. So we will see. Next news hour is this, as I already told you, that Supreme Court judges have both reaction to it, which is in the support as well as in the against of the judgment that was passed. So now former Supreme Court Judge Sujata Manohar, who was a member of National Human Rights Commission when the body intervened in 2003 on the behalf of Bilkis Bano, it termed the government's decision to release 11 convicts in the gang rape as well as murder case from 2002 Gujarat riots. She called it dilution of rule of law. So what she said is, especially in a case like this, the decision to release the convicts cannot be made arbitrarily. When a court has convicted and sentenced them, releasing them arbitrarily dilutes the rule of law. What she talks more in, on 15th August, 11 convicts walked out of prison after the Gujarat government panel remitted their life sentence awarded to them. So this is, you all know, that remission is decreasing the number of years that a prisoner have to pass in the jail, and if it is a jail for like till life, so it can only be remitted when a prison at least passes 14 years in prison. So now she is talking about what occurred that day and what violence broke out. She called that significantly in 2003 it was NHRC's crucial intervention that ensured legal assistance for Bano to approach the Supreme Court after the Gujarat police had closed the case. Now she is talking that human rights body, which was under Chief Justice of India J.S. Verma, had met her when he visited a relief camp in Godhra in March 2002. Justice Manohar was at that time a member of commission then, and he appointed a senior advocate and former Solicitor General Harish Salve to represent her before the Supreme Court. So they all helped her in a way. Salve argued for a fresh probe of CBI and subsequently for a transfer of trail from Gujarat to Bombay. Bano case was only Gujarat rights related case, and that was indicated fresh by CBI. Now she is talking that it's very sad to see the case take this turn. We want women to be empowered, but we do not ensure adequate safety for them. Now she is talking that we want in this society that women should be empowered, but we do not look out for adequate safety for them. The remission does not send a proper message on the protection of women. So this is clear that she is against this. Now this is explained page, and the main, simply put, is US Job Recession Paradox. So this is of no use. It is creating job as well as Fed is hiking rates. So this is of no use for India. What is the main news is regarding this. What are the cloud burst incidents and are they rising across India? So as you know, in Himachal Pradesh as well as Uttarakhand, there were a lot of cloud burst and rainfall was way too much in Uttarakhand, which creates a lot of landslides and major issues in this area. So we will look at the news. What is, over 20 people have been killed in a destruction caused by cloud burst and flash floods in different parts of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand over the last 3 days. Isolated areas in these two states have reported heavy rainfall during this time that triggered landslides and flash floods, and because of this it disrupted rail and road traffic. Cloudburst, what is cloudburst? It's a localized but intense rainfall activity. So it is like heavy rain in a short time. Short spells of very heavy rain or a very small geographical area can cause widespread destruction, especially in the hilly regions. So also talking that not all instances of very heavy rainfall are cloudburst. What is a cloudburst? Has a specific definition, which is rainfall of 10 centimeter or more in an hour or a roughly 10 kilometer square area. This is classified as a cloudburst event. So rainfall of 10 centimeter in an hour over 10 kilometer square area. This is a cloudburst event. By this definition, 5 centimeter rainfall in a half hour period over the same area would also be categorized as cloudburst. So to put this in perspective, what occurs in normal year India as a whole, it receives about 116 centimeter of rainfall over the entire year. This means that if the entire rainfall everywhere in India during a year was spread evenly over its area, the total accumulated water would be 116 centimeter high. As you know, because there are few, this is not 116 centimeter in like every region, because you know that there are regions which have a lot of rainfall, and also there are regions which do not get adequate rainfall. So if we take an average rainfall over the entire year in every area, it is 116 centimeter for a year. So these are of course huge geographical variations in rainfall within the country, and some areas receives over 10 times more than that amount in a year. But it is, I already told you that it is on average India is expected to receive about 116 centimeter of rain a year. So during a cloudburst event, what occurs is a place receives about 10% of this annual rainfall within an hour. So it occurs in a rapid time period of an hour or maybe half an hour. So this is a worse situation than what Mumbai had experienced on 26 July 2005, which is one of the most extreme instances of rainfall in India in the recent years. What occurred at that time? Mumbai received 94 centimeter of rain over 24-hour period, and it resulted in death of 400 people and more than $4 billion loss in terms of finance loss. How common are cloudbursts? So how common are cloudbursts in our India? Cloudbursts are not uncommon events, particularly during monsoon months, and why this happens is because of the wind systems, temperature gradients. So it's like most of these happens in Himalayan states, where local topology, wind system, temperature gradients between the upper and lower atmosphere facilitates the occurrence of such events. So what is the reason? Wind as well as this nature temperature gradient, both of this. However, not every event that is described as a cloudburst is actually by definition a cloudburst. This is because these events are highly localized. They take place in very small areas which are often devoid of rainfall measuring instruments. So in many rural areas where these instruments are not available, they also get cloudburst. So it is not easy to measure such a occurring in our country as a whole. So nature of terrain, heavy rainfall often triggers landslides and flash flood because it loosens the soil, causing extensive destruction downstream. This is the reason why every sudden downpour that leads to destruction of life and property in the hilly areas get described as cloudburst, because not all landslides are cloudburst, but cloudburst can cause landslides. So this is a thing that you must remember. At the same time, it's also possible that actual cloudburst events in remote locations are not recorded. Can cloudburst be forecasted? So as you know, no department, no meteorological agency does that. forecast can be about lightning, which is heavy or very heavy rainfall, but weather scientists do not have the capability to predict exactly how much rain is likely to fall at any given place. So moving out, cloudburst incidents increasing. So there is no long-term trend that suggests that cloudbursts are rising. What is well established, however, is that the incidence of extreme rainfall as other extreme weather events are increasing, not just in India but also in the world. So you can say not only the cloudbursts are increasing, but incidents of extreme rainfall as other extreme weather events such as cyclone as well as earthquake, all these are increasing, and it's not just in India alone, but it's happening all over the world. While the overall amount of rainfall in India has not changed substantially, an increasing proportion of rainfall is happening in a short span of time. So it's talking that the amount of rainfall that occurs in a whole year is not increasing, but it is, what is the increase? It is like a heavy rainfall in a short time. This is increasing. So this means that wet spells are very wet and are interspersed with prolonged dry spells even in rainy season. So it's talking that when rain occurs, it's very heavy rain, and when it does not occur, it's very dry. So this kind of pattern is attributed to climate change and does suggest that cloudburst events might also be on rise. So this is because of climate change. So what is the future prospects of the news? Rainy season is not over yet, and we will be tracking more of cloudburst in our region. We can be, because of the climate change, obviously. So this is a main cause of landslide as well as other things. So taking precautions during these cloudbursts, because it's important. It also occurred in the Kedarnath tragedy. It was also the reason because there was a cloudburst during that time. So we have to be careful, and this is because of climate change. So we have to take care of also that we do not contribute in the degradation of our earth. We should contribute in repairing what we have done to our earth. So moving forward to our economy page, we see that there is a big news that Finance Ministry LA worry on UPI charges and says that providers may seek other means. So why is this news? This news is because there is a issue, which is that government is considering to levy charges for UPI services. It has been blamed by RBI, and so now the Finance Ministry is trying to clarify after this RBI paper on merchant discount rate revival have been released. So we will see what is the news. After the Reserve Bank of India came out with discussion paper last week on charges in payment system, the Finance Ministry on Sunday clarified that there is no consideration in the government to levy any charges for unified payment interface services. So what was the discussion paper? Discussion paper was regarding the RBI asked stakeholders if the merchant discount rate, which is a fees paid by merchants to acquiring bank, should be brought back for UPI transactions. This MDR on UPI transaction has long been standing demand of the payment industry. So what the government will say about it, we will see in later words. Most other modes of digital retail payment attract a charge on transaction. Currently, the government has mandated a zero charge framework for UPI transaction with effect from January 1, 2020. So what this is about? This is about if you do transaction with the help of UPI, the user as well as merchants are charged none rupee. This is nil rupee, 0 rupee. The RBI paper seeking feedback on fee structure for range of digital payment services through a set of 40 questions is open for comments till October 3. So now RBI is talking about how this occurs. So central bank has said that at this stage, it is reiterated that RBI has not taken any view nor has any specific opinion on the issues raised in this discussion. What is the issue is that the UPI services is termed as digital public good. Now Finance Ministry have stepped up to clarify that the concerns for the service provider for cost recovery have to be met through other means. It is said that whatever the charges are being taken by the government are taken from other means, not from UPI. So UPI is a public good platform. It does not take any charges. Now it's saying that UPI is a digital public good with immense convenience for public and productivity gain for the economy. There is no consideration in government to levy any charges for UPI services. So it's talking that government do not take any single penny for the UPI services. What is the concern of the services provider for the cost recovery have to be met through other means. So whatever the cost recovery, whatever the money they have to take, it will not take from this public good services. It will take from other means which is other than UPI. So it further said that government have provided financial support for digital payment ecosystem last year and has announced the same this year as well. Why? To encourage further adoption of digital payments and promotion of payment platforms that are economical as well as user friendly. So this is a reason both to help them as well as promote the payment platforms that are both economical and as well as friendly for the user as well. RBI, while releasing the discussion paper, it has stated that what RBI has released in the paper, this is important. It said that any economic activity that includes payment system, there does not seem to be any justification for a free service unless there is an element of public good and dedication of infrastructure for the welfare of the nation. It was also told, so what this said, it said that RBI said that free service is not justified unless the government is doing it for the public good, for the sake of dedication of infrastructure or for the welfare of the Indian nation. But who should bear the cost of setting up and operating such an infrastructure is a moot point. So it's talking that how this infrastructure will be operated then if it does not take any money from the public. So in this discussion paper, RBI has approximately that with an average value of 800 for merchant transaction, the various stakeholders enabling the UPI transaction, it has cost rupees 2. So this is all about data. We will see what the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said in the budget speech. She said that the financial support for digital payment ecosystem, which was announced in the previous budget, it will continue in 2022 as well as 2023. What will it benefit? It will encourage further adoption of digital payments. There will also be a focus to promote use of payment platforms. There's already told you that user friendly and economic. So we will see, because RBI has asked question to the Finance Ministry, we will see whether this discussion paper, how she will clarify more. She has already clarified that it is not considering government to levy any charges for UPI. And also if it will say more about this issue, we will see in the upcoming days. So this was the main news in economy page. Now coming forward to world news. This is about Russia-Ukraine war. Zelensky warned of ugly, vicious attack by Russia before Ukraine's Independence Day event. So it's talking that there's a serious threat from Russia that it will attack Ukraine before its Independence Day. So this is going on. We will see whether this occurs or not, because obviously Russia is having no mercy on Ukraine and it's trying to invade it. So it's trying everything that can be used as a tactic to invade the country and unify it. So what is there is not such more news. There's a flash flooding in Afghanistan and Pakistan, so this occurs. This newspaper has now ended. This was a newspaper which consisted of many important news, such as regarding economy as well as geography also. Today cloudburst were explained in a very good manner, and you can read this newspaper as well.